And it's time for the Southern California Foreclosure Report. We are going to run through the foreclosure numbers for Orange County, LA, Riverside, San Diego, San Bernardino, and Ventura counties, and we're getting right into the numbers. Hey there, Christian Walsh, real estate agent with Wire Associates. We have been helping buyers and sellers make the best data-driven decisions, and there's so much data to cover that we're diving right in. We are not going to waste time with a fancy intro, although maybe we just kind of did an intro. Notices of default. We are looking at April's going all the way back to 2015, and we have removed the data for Los Angeles because it changes the scale. We're going to show you that next. But notice of default is the first public notice for foreclosure. So a payment is missed, minimum of 120 days later, the notice of default will be filed. 90 days later is a notice of sale, and it'll have a sale date on there that can be a minimum of 21 days later. Usually takes much longer. Average across the nation is anywhere from 850 to 900 days right now for foreclosure, from missing a payment all the way through to being foreclosed on. Look at what we have for the notices of default going back. This big drop we see in 2020 and 2021 is due to COVID. We had a foreclosure moratorium, and it was essentially stopping almost all foreclosures. Still, some were able to move through. That if it was a private lender, they were allowed to move forward with the foreclosure process, but any Fannie, Freddie backed mortgages, for example, those were not. FHA, VA, no foreclosures, no notice of default. So you can see that big drop. And if you look closely, and our email newsletter subscribers get these, they can see these numbers more closely. We can see San Bernardino had a spike in 2022, not a crazy spike, in line with years before COVID, but then it's dropped to 2023. So that's in many cases what we're seeing. Now, San Diego, we see an increase, but again, not a crazy increase in this first phase of foreclosure. It is in line with years before COVID. So we are returning to normal foreclosure levels. There are foreclosures in any given market. Heck, even when there's a foreclosure moratorium, you can see there were still a few. So let's add in the Los Angeles numbers, and you can see similar thing, big drop, but we're up. And Los Angeles is unique among the 6 California counties that we're covering because they have a higher number of notices of default than we've seen going all the way back to 2015. That is because of a few possible things. One is the eviction moratorium that was going on in Los Angeles. Landlords weren't getting rent from tenants in many cases for up to 3 years. And those are some of the properties we're seeing in here receiving a notice of default. Now, the eviction moratorium is over in Los Angeles City, Los Angeles County, so they can theoretically start to collect rent. But landlords who are behind $40,000, $50,000 or more, you're not going to get it all in April of 2023. So they are way behind. If you're finding this video helpful, make sure you hit that like button. It looks like this without a heart. But what is important to see is we saw that 513 notices of default. That's actually a drop month over month. Still way up as compared to last year, nearly double in the number of notices of default that were filed this year in April versus last year, but a drop from the beginning of the year, from February and March. It was trending up, and we were talking about how we'd have to continue to track it and see if it continued in that trend, but it is since dropped. So we will have to see what happens next month. And then for context and perspective, we've thrown in numbers in 2011 for notices of default. So you can see that we're below those levels. Notices of default had started to taper off and were slowing by 2011. They basically were all in the next phase, the notice of trustee sale, which we're going to show you. And speaking of notice of trustee sale, now moving into all counties but LA, so we can take a look at what's happening. Notice of trustee sale, the next phase of foreclosure, getting closer to the actual sale of the property at the courthouse steps. And we've released content on that as well. There have been changes. SB 1079 has changed the foreclosure process and purchase, and tenants now have a superpower, and we just released a video on that. We hope you check that out. So you can see that the properties have not yet moved very far into the foreclosure process, into the notice of trustee sale stage, and we are below 2015 numbers for notices of trustee sale. There aren't any counties that are even close to numbers back then. So we have not yet returned to pre-COVID notice of trustee sale numbers, except for some similarity between 2017 and 2023. But other than that, we have not returned. Now, adding in Los Angeles, we can see a similar thing. It has gone up. No surprise, just as we mentioned, that the eviction moratorium was driving numbers up for landlords losing properties, but still nowhere near the 2015 levels for Los Angeles for this next phase of foreclosure. And in fact, we can see that it's slightly trending down in Los Angeles for the notices of trustee sale. Since December, we have continued to go in this downward trend, and we are up, as mentioned, compared to last year, so up year over year, but trending down month over month, so we'll have to keep tracking to see what happens. Giving you perspective, 2011, 10 times the number of notices of trustee sale in April in 2011 than we have in 2023 for Los Angeles, and similar trend in the other counties, 10 times as many notices of trustee sale. That's why you can see a global financial crisis in the years there. We had so much inventory, foreclosure inventory coming to the market, and the properties that make it all the way through the foreclosure process and technically are foreclosed homes, they've been sold at the auction. They are now real estate owned or bank owned, and they will be theoretically coming to the market on the multiple listing service. We had our foreclosure moratorium, so you can see that the numbers are down for the real estate owned, but up in some areas in 2023, and it looks to be significantly up in 2023 until we add some context to this and perspective. And yeah, we are not even close to pre-COVID foreclosure numbers. And you can see in 2015, for example, 213 properties in LA went back to the bank and had to be listed and sold, and we're at 20. So almost 10 times as many properties going back to the bank in 2015. Oh, and a little more context and perspective. How about comparing it to 2011? 640 versus the 20 we have now. Huge numbers of properties going back to the bank. Now, the numbers are down for bank-owned properties for many reasons. One is people don't have to be foreclosed on. They can go ahead and sell. In many cases, these properties still have equity and the owner can sell. They don't have to go all the way through the foreclosure process. Moving on to an important subject, and that is, what if you're interested in buying a foreclosure property? There are a few places you can turn. One of our favorites is foreclosure.com. This is a great resource to track foreclosure properties from the notice of default all the way through the foreclosed process. The other important place you can turn to is our website. We have a link below that will go ahead and send automatically any properties that are in the foreclosure process in Southern California for land, houses, and multifamily. And don't forget that SB 1079 governs what happens right after the foreclosure sale. Eligible tenant buyers have a superpower, but owner occupants also have an advantage too. Make sure you check out our content related to this. And AB 2170 changes the game when the properties come to the market. When those properties are finally listed, there are certain buyers who get priority in the first 30 days, including owner occupants. So if you're interested in a property that has been listed, make sure you reach out to us for help. Should we wave goodbye to the foreclosure wave, or is this the calm before the storm? Let us know in the comments below. We want to hear what you think is about to happen for the Southern California foreclosure market. And you look like somebody who likes data like I do. If so, you're going to want to subscribe to our free weekly email newsletter so that every Sunday data comes right to you. And then you're also going to want to check out this next video. Thanks for tuning in. This has been Christian Walsh, Forever Agent with Wire Associates, Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, and we want to hear from you.